Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bill, and this is my wife, Ina, and we're happy you joined us today. So, Ina wanted me to start, but she's the one who always starts. I never know what to say until she started talking.
Okay. Uh, then I suggest to start with an exercise with your eyes closed. If you are not driving or you're not walking somewhere that it will be dangerous to close your eyes, then it's okay. You can continue driving. But if you can sit up straight, and we will do something maybe unusual for some of you. You will look inside your mind. Okay, I think the translation is going well. Okay, close your eyes and sit up straight because we want you to take 200%, even not 100, from this class and use it. And first 10 seconds, maybe try to feel your body. Observe, don't correct anything, then find discomfort and then adjust it that you would feel better. And let's make several exhales, inhales. Just follow your breathing to come to here and now, because we will do a very useful exercise after that. Think about your life. Think about your experiences you have right now in your life. Especially the best and the worst. What is the best thing you have right now? And what is the worst thing you have right now? That is draining your energy out, that is putting you into the midst of chaos, mentally, if not physically. And when you identify this biggest issue that you have, make a decision that you will dedicate this class 1 hour with us to find the solution to this problem and to start working towards this solution. Think about what did you do to overcome the problem that you have already? And what is the result? And the last thing is a strange question. Do you think you deserve to be a person without this problem? Go back to your breathing, open your eyes. Did it work?
Mhm.
Now you have ideas.
Mhm. Mm. Do you deserve to be a person that doesn't have the problem? I mean, that depends, right? Like, why do problems happen in the first place? Um, and I think all problems are a result of a mistake, right? There was some sort of ignorance that created the problem. Uh, and if you had understood what you were doing, you would have never done it in the first place. Um, so, and then people come here to class. I'm a little off because normally you talk and then I have something to say. And I was thinking of lots of different things.
I think we can start with if I have problem, I can feel like I can change it, and I can feel like I'm a victim.
Mhm.
And I think because I'm on the subject of how the consciousness works for 30 years, I calculated recently, because it was the first time I was thinking, oh, I really want to know more how my mind works, and is it powerful or just, blah, blah, blah in my head. What I definitely know, if you think you are just a victim of circumstances, you cannot change anything in your world. Then imagine you do not want to be a victim. Kind of, you don't know why you're not a victim, but you just do not like to be a victim. Then you should find the way. You should find a way to understand how you can influence this reality, right? Like you have a problem. Where is the where I can push it, or like do something with it.
How can I solve it?
How? Yeah, exactly. So I think first, maybe some people do not know us. I want to say a couple words about Bill. Bill is a special person because he's a pilot in the first place, and he did his formal training, pilot training in the military. He was an instructor pilot, moreover, and he also has a degree in economics from the University of Virginia. And he also got interested in how our mind works over 25 years ago, right?
It probably started 30 years
30
ago, but it
years
took me
ago.
about 4 or 5 years to find this teaching.
Wow. Okay. Maybe it was same day that we got interested. I mean, I'm joking, of course, but Bill, he has done the formal open teachings training in this philosophy, ancient. People say 2,500 years old. Honestly, much more than that.
Yeah.
But formally, we say 2,500 years old. And he not only he did all the open teachings, also advanced, and finished his studies with 3-year retreat, because as he told me, he wanted to explore how much how not only how your mind really works, how my mind works, because that's obvious even before any retreats you do, but to explore the potential, right? The power of consciousness. So, and as you can see, 11 years after he finished his 3-year retreat, he is still interested in these teachings, and teaching, it means something, right? It's, because I don't want to talk instead of you, like about your experiences.
Ina and I, we have a similar background in that we're both interested in why things happen and how to solve problems. And we both ended up coming to the same conclusion is that we're creating it ourselves, with our mind. Our mind and starts, and then from there, what we think and say and do, it's creating our world. And I've had a bit of a cold this week, so if my voice is off, that's why.
This is why I will be talking more than him.
But Ina came at it through a scientific medical approach where she was a doctor, and then she got not just an MD, but she went on and got a PhD, a research degree after that, and was particularly interested in psychosomatic medicine and the role of our mind in illness, and led her to this. And she's also done the 18 foundational courses and is well on her way to finishing the advanced courses also. And the thing is, well, why do you care? Why is it important? And it's because we're convinced that there are answers to your problems, that you don't just have to be a victim, that honestly, you're not really a victim. You're receiving the result of something you created for yourself in the past, even though it may not look like it at the moment. And that if you understand why things happen in the first place, then you can create the world that you want to create. You can solve the problems that, that you're not just being tossed around like a piece of wood on the ocean in a storm. It's not just some kind of random force that's moving you around. You're doing it yourself, and that it's your mind that's creating your own world, which is what all these courses are ultimately about, right?
There is a very important word in these courses, in this philosophy, illusion, right? And maybe you heard many times from different perspectives, like, oh, our life is like an illusion, or like, or you probably you have seen my favorite movie, Matrix. I didn't know that time why I loved it so much, but deep inside, maybe most of us have this feeling that something is off, that the world is not actually as it looks like. Just most of us never have chance to really explore it and to check if this is true or not. Or, there are people who just do not ask questions. They are just having like normal life, like Monday to Friday work and then weekend off, and then they just get old and die without ever asking any questions, unless they get lucky and I will be it will be a black joke right now, but it's actually quite sad, until they get quite lucky to see somebody else died whom they loved, or they got some kind of big issue like bankruptcy or disease, and then they start ask questions. Why me? Why me? Why did it happen to me, right? For me, I was a medical doctor. I was a pediatrician, and I was working in the department of children of early age. And I was like 21 when I became a doctor, and I didn't have my own children yet. I was working in the department, and we had children with genetic and chromosomal abnormalities, and some of them were just dying, within first year of their life, and didn't make sense to me. I was like, yeah, okay, I understand they have genetic abnormalities, but this is not actually the answer to the question why they die. It's the answer to the question how they die. Okay, how they have an abnormality, it somehow does not is not helpful for their life, for their longevity, right, for their health. But why this child has exactly this thing, right? like my son was born, and in the same day there was another lady in the same room where I was at the hospital. She has same name. She named her son same name that I named my son, and the little guy died within a couple days, and her pregnancy was normal. Everything was similar, same day, same place. Like, why, right? So all this, it gives questions, and hopefully you also had something that I mean. You had something that made you ask yourself questions. Hopefully not very tragic, but stuff happens. And then this question of illusion, like where the illusion is. So I would say, for me, the illusion started when I was studying normal physiology, because when I reached the subject of consciousness, I was like a kid in front of the toy shop, like, oh, now they will explain everything. Now I will know for sure why everything happens, because of course I understand that my thinking process is important, my mind is important. Now I will get on all the answers. And guess what? Didn't happen, because just find yourself and try to read how the consciousness is explained in modern textbooks, even more than not 30 years ago when I entered my medical university. Does not make much sense. But there are old books. If it's something old, does not mean it's useless and is not useful anymore. If you will think for a while, if something is really true, it does not have to change. Like, imagine you found a way to make money that always works. Will you ever change it? Right? Or you found a way to become healthier and healthier, or like more and more beautiful, or have more and more energy. Will you do anything else if it works well for you? Right? In medicine, I can see Vika. I know she is a medical doctor, and she can prove. And I guess we have more doctors in the room. Usually, doctors come to our classes.
Well, psychologists too. People are
and
interested.
Psychologists, yeah. So you can probably confirm that every 5 years, in the scientific world, the paradigm shifts. There is new fashion. Like, we were treating ulcer with I don't know, with hypnosis. Now we treat with antibiotics. 5 years. It was exactly happened when I just entered my medical university, the era of antibiotics for the ulcers. At the end, I was still at my medical university. They said, you know what? Still, central nervous system is important. So antibiotics, not enough. And if it constantly changes, if it keeps changing, like the best solution, then probably you start to be a little bit suspicious. Is it really a solution? Like, maybe none of the solutions is the real solution. So, and as a medical doctor, I can tell you that starting from how you think about your world, I will say it this way. Starting with how I think about my world, I'm already wrong. Example, I guess everybody have seen the pen demonstration, right? It's the demonstration how the reality works based on a physical object, right? And we say, like, what is this? This is a pen. Okay, why is it a pen? Because I can write. You see, proof, I can. And then if I will show it to a dog, the doggo will do this. Proof that it's not the pen for a dog. right? Otherwise, it will do what I did. Then who is right, a human or a dog? You know the answer. Both, because it works for me as a pen. So there is something in me that makes it a pen, and there is something in the dog that makes it this stuff, right? So, so in this case, how should we think about the world, right? Like, what is the illusion? And I will tell you now how the illusion looked to me as to a medical doctor. Think about your eyes. Then answer the question. Do you think your eyes can see? I'm not even naming it the pen. Okay, the pen. Can you see the pen? And if you will be honest with yourself, you'll say, yeah, of course, I do see it right now, right? What if I will tell you that from a scientific point of view, your eye cannot see the pen? Impossible, completely impossible. Your eye has rounded cells that can perceive colors and longer cells that can perceive shapes. What your eye can see is a cylinder, something long, and something bluish, white blue. That's it. Here, only two types of cells, scientifically. Then what happens? You have neuron that goes here to the, do they call it occipital? Occipital part of the brain. The image is upside down, actually. The way the eye see it, it's upside down. Then here, there are filters, of course, you know. And then here, it is getting right. And in the midst of your darkest part of your brain, you see the bright image. And you have this, dun, it's a pen. You see? You cannot see the pen. There is something that is happening when you see the format shape and shapes, and for you it's one thing, and for the dog it's the other thing. You look like you want to say something. Okay. So whatever you experience that is difficult for you at the moment, first you need the explanation how it happened, right? Why? Second, you need to understand what's going on really. And this is what's going on. I have something in my mind that covers the colors and shapes, or you can imagine about the sound, right? You hear decibels, some kind of noise. And then something in your mind covers these decibels, right? Like these decibels. I love the painting behind us. It's exactly like the noise looks like. And something in your mind, you know, covers these decibels, and you think, oh, she speaks English. Oh, she said this. She's explaining about the pen. Oh, I don't understand. Maybe it's Chinese. You see, like different noise, and you have different something covering this noise. And then either you understand or you don't. Either you like it or you don't. So this is basically how the reality works. Do you want to talk about the three possibilities, Because I was asking Bill when I met him almost 6 years ago, because you know, every spiritual person has their ups and downs, and I was thinking, oh, probably in his 3-year retreat, he also could have like moments of doubts, right? Like, am I doing the best thing with my life? Am I in the right place? And I asked him, like, what would you do when you would have those moments? And he said that I would go through three possibilities.
Yeah, to be fair, in retreat, there were times it was hard. I'd seen enough by that point. I mean, I'd had 10 years of classes and had a pretty solid academic background on what I was doing. And so, by the time I got to 3-year retreat, I was pretty committed, honestly. But then, it's fair to ask, well, okay, am I doing what I should be doing? And then you'd always go through, and this was common with the other 3-year retreaters, like, well, what are the three possible things that could be creating my work? Well, either it's random, and we won't go into a long explanation of this. It's a much longer discussion. Either things are random, there's some outside force doing it to you, would be the second choice, or I'm creating it for myself. And then when you got down to I'm creating it for myself, well, then that means that I've got to look at my mind, and ultimately the path that I'm on, which is what this is all about, is going to be accurate. And it was, because what happens, and then we'll talk about it, particularly in this course, ACI class, course 6. One of the things we'll talk about is that part of the reason why people know what's going on, the people who've written these texts and the people who've studied, and why this worldview is significant, is because people have learned how to meditate. People in the past have learned how to meditate deeply. And then they've seen directly like a different reality than what we normally see. And that gives them a greater understanding of why things are happening in the reality that we do see. I mean, the reality that we do see is called deceptive reality, because it's fooling us. We don't really understand it completely. And then there's an ultimate reality that is deeper than that, where things are coming from. And so it's one of the things that we'll talk about in this course. In fact, one of the classes is particularly profound about that. But and all of this, you get started like, well, why do things happen? What are you going to do? I'm alive. Like, now, what does that mean? What am I going to do with this life? Like you saw the young infant that passed away. For me,
Many of them.
I'd been introduced to this stuff. There was a famous professor at the University of Virginia, and I just happened to take a class with him, a couple classes, and like, okay, well, that's interesting. There's a lot of material there. Talking about the meditation, but there's 9 levels till you can focus, and then there's 4 levels after that where you're in a place called the form realm, and there's 4 levels after that where you're in the formless realm, and you're like, really? Like who made this stuff up, right? Like either somebody's more inventive than Tolkien ever imagined being, who wrote the Lord of the Rings, or somebody's seen something pretty extraordinary.
Hold down.
Yeah,
I can see translators.
yeah. Even sick, I'm still talking too fast. And so you're like, oh wow, they painted this really fantastic worldview that was extremely complex. And I was like, well, okay, well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I didn't understand, well, what use is that for me, right?
Interesting.
Interesting, but in the academic community at the time, they couldn't tell me why it was useful. And then a close friend of mine had a near-death experience. They were in the hospital and on the operating table and almost died. Well, actually did die and then came back. And it's about 12 years later, the person told me about the experience. And like, oh, well, I died, went to heaven, came back. I was like, well, really? Okay. What do you do with that? Right. This was somebody I trusted. And I wouldn't ask you to take that, for anything other than a story that I just told you. But, for me personally, it was interesting. Okay, well, what if this person really did see heaven and came back? Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean as far as my consciousness, and why do people go to heaven and why do people go to hell? Or is there a heaven and is there a hell? And you start looking for answers, and then what this worldview had to say started making sense. It's like, oh, okay, they were onto something. They were onto something about our consciousness and why we're creating the world. And do our actions have an effect on what we're going to experience in the future? And will our consciousness continue on after we're done here? Right? All of which is going to change how you're going to live your life, if it's true, right? Mm-hmm. And I particularly like the fact that they didn't ask me to accept anything. They said, well, okay, this is, we think it's this way, and they were very logical. And there would be things that I would run into and say, oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that part. Then it usually be a year or two later, I'm like, oh, okay, well, they were right about that. Very sophisticated. It's really, it's a profound, interesting story. And then we've seen kind of, it was almost separate from that, because we were both, I think, started looking at things because of death and consciousness, Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing is that short-term results, right, come out of it. Like we've seen people all of these courses ultimately are going to be about the cause and effect relationship between the actions you're taking today and the results you're going to get in the future. And, and why your life is like it is now. And then when people start understanding that, we've seen them be able to change their life, this current life, right? It's not just about, some future life that you can't see. And that was pretty surprising, right? Like you start seeing people
getting the impossible things.
Yeah, the impossible things, right? People who have advanced cancer and curing themselves of it, or people who, start using this knowledge to make money, or people who didn't have a partner who now do have a partner,
like me.
That was part of our story. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, well, even that, right? Is there a cause for that? Is there a cause for a happy relationship? Is there a cause for being healthy, overcoming sickness? Is there a cause for money? Is it? And so it's interesting. You see it start working for people, it's like, oh, okay. That's so many cool things fall out, frankly.
I was thinking, for me, when I met these teachings, this philosophy, I was actively looking for answers because of my work, with children, and even though I did over 10 years of training additionally in different types of psychotherapy, still you cannot explain why little children, like babies, newborns, are having health issues. Like a friend of mine, his second daughter, she was diagnosed with some kind of blood cancer. I think it was leukemia. First week after she was born, and she passed away within the first year of life. I mean, it's not fair, right? Then you look for explanations, and I was looking for the truth, I was a truth seeker, Is it written somewhere? Can I read it from somewhere? Why things happen? And then I realized I met somebody who probably everybody knows, Geshe Michael Roach. Same way Bill did, like probably 10 years before me or something, over 10 years, yeah. And I realized that it is actually, everything is described in the old books, and unfortunately we didn't take the old books with us. I have the first book I read by Geshe Michael. His bestseller, The Diamond Cutter, the Buddha on managing your business and your life. And I remember first time I was reading it, it's a very easy book. It's an easy reading. I could not get through the content. It was difficult for me. And I was like, it looks like it feels important. I'm not sure I really understand everything, right? So, and now pay attention. Like, if your life is not what you want, then probably the causes you are creating are far away from the life that you want. Your current life and what you want have different causes. And different paths leads to these causes. And maybe this is why what will be helpful, you cannot understand yet. It's there, it's in the books, but there should be some formal training to get to know it, to learn it. And even this book was difficult for me. I can only imagine if I would just go straight to, I don't know, ACI course 6, or would not make any sense to me at all. So in this philosophy, what they have done, like the core, we don't go and read the core. We read commentaries that make it easier for normal people. And usually we need commentaries on the commentaries because it is still too hard, too difficult to understand. So this course will be about what Bill was talking about, like how the reality works. And it will be explained. You will, if you want to know deeper how you created your reality in the first place, what is the potential, what really you can do with this, and practical application, and what will happen if you will not only understand how it works, but you will fix it, make necessary adjustments, right? Where in this chaos, especially nowadays, everything looks so unstable. Wherever you go, I don't know, maybe you think you will be fine in Australia or New Zealand. You won't, because if these teachings are right, I am responsible for what I see in my world. It's not random. There is no high power that makes me a slave of it. I mean, there are high powers. We still are responsible for our lives. We cannot blame anybody, even with the highest powers, for what we have. So if it comes from me, okay, I can go to Australia. Do you think there will be stability? I can tell you what will happen for sure, because I did it. I escaped from some dangerous things. Like I was thinking, if I will go to Europe, then there will be peace around me, because I ran away from the chaos and hid myself in Europe. I flew to France on the 17th of June, 2015. And you can check up in internet. I was living in Paris. I had a very good place of work, but you can check what happened in November. Like, I escaped from one danger, and in November, 2 blocks away from the place I was staying at, there were a terrorist attack. Over 100 people were killed. So I realized, that was the moment I realized, wherever I go, I better work on my consciousness and what's inside of my, on the actions that I have already done, clean it, purify, whatever you call it, because it doesn't matter where I will go. I cannot leave myself behind. I will bring myself with me, and I will change the reality of where I am because of my actions.
One of the things I'd like to say about these courses is that the material can be challenging, which is why these courses are so brilliant. Before I found them, I was just kind of wandering around reading different books, and I knew that they were onto something, but trying to figure out how to learn the material, it was hard. I was just getting little bits and pieces like of a jigsaw puzzle, and wasn't even sure what the total picture was, much less whether I had all the pieces or where they would go. And then these 18 courses, they put together, there's a path, frankly, to go from
evolution.
An evolution, right? That you go from having problems to, frankly, being completely free from problems, and completely free in a way that's hard to imagine if you're human. So the 18 courses give you the foundation. That's why they're called the foundational courses. They give you the foundation of the knowledge that you need in order to understand this path out of all of your problems, out of apartment buildings that blow up and 100 people die. And it does it in a really clear way. And again, some of the material is challenging, but it presents it to you in a way that is going to help you understand it. It's thorough, it's clear, it's brilliant, it's powerful. It's not just it's so much philosophy you read. It can be complex and it jumps around, and ultimately, like, what use is it? This is extremely useful. And it's basically like a user's guide for your life. It's like, okay, well, I want to do this. These are my goals, and frankly, it will help you understand what your goals should be. They're probably greater than what you can imagine. It's extraordinary. It's really extraordinary. And, it's been 25 years since I took the first course. And as we're going back through them, just super impressed with, frankly, the genius of the lineage, because this isn't, Geshe Michael is a key figure in our lineage. He translated these books and put them in the format they're in now, but this is an ancient lineage of people who've, frankly, had some direct insight into the material and written about it. And it's very pure knowledge, very well presented. And if there was someplace better to go for the knowledge, I would tell you to go there.
You would go yourself.
I would be there myself. Yeah. If there was, and I think they've got it right. I really do think that this is not just an accurate worldview, but the accurate worldview. And frankly, if you're Christian or Muslim, Jewish, scientific, you'll find this information will be, it will help you understand those traditions. It's really
your own tradition.
Your own tradition, yeah. It's really extraordinary. It's every time I go through a new class, we'll prepare for a class to teach people, and there'll be ideas and they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's extraordinary. Yeah, that's really important. Oh my gosh, that's extraordinary. That's really important. Well, can't wait to talk about that. Oh yeah, and you'd think it would kind of wear out after a while, right? Yeah. You'd think that 18 courses, 10 classes, that's 180. No, every single one, there's something that's really exciting to discuss. And really fun. We have the best time afterwards, after we've done a class, it's like, wow, wasn't that just so much fun to discuss?
And yeah, and honestly, I think the only arguments we have is about how to better teach the class.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes and you'll see like the greatest figures in the history of this worldview will debate about subtle points, and it's fun to discuss it, right? Yeah. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of joy that comes out of, you're doing something right when you feel good about it. And we always feel like extraordinary at the end of this.
So I would like to ask you, to those of you who are present online, to write in the chat what problems are you dealing with right now? What is your chaos? How your chaos looks like, and maybe we can make it a little bit more practical for you. What I can tell about ACI 6, for me, probably it's one of the most favorite courses among ACI, because you will see the map, like where to go. Like, I'm here right now. And usually when you hear for the first time that, oh my God, actually the world is not what I was thinking it is, there is kind of illusion in place. It's not like it looks like. I'm not sure what's there. And then you figure it out. It becomes clear. And then once you realize how it functions, it's very similar for me. At the very least, I felt that way, that everything I learned before, and boy, I was learning a lot. 10 years of medical school, 10 years of psychotherapy, lots of other stuff. And at the moment I realized how the reality works, it was the moment I realized I never ever had any correct ideas about it. Like everything I ever learned was not correct, because the most important piece was missing, that it doesn't work this way. We are in the habit, or in the impression that reality goes on us, it is attacking us, like taxes, COVID, wars. Like, you think we have just a problem with couple of wars? Look up in the humans' history. Humans are recreating wars every day. I mean, there were 3 days, I think ChatGPT told me there were 3 days on the planet last century with no wars somewhere. So, I mean, I really need a tool, do something with somebody who is creating this reality with this somebody, right? Good thing is you have to change only one person. That's you. That's it. Everybody else will change. And you will get the GPS, a navigator. You will know, okay, I just heard it. I know everything that I was doing maybe was not to the point, was maybe not correct. That's okay. And maybe you will have slightly different feeling, like you're on the horse in the middle of the prairie, and it's like really running fast and you cannot stop it, but you already see that something is wrong, right? Or like I don't know, worse, even worse, like you're in front of the Grand Canyon on the wild horse. But better late than never, like maybe you will find a way to jump off or to stop it somehow. And this is the course. This is about how to stop the wild horse and to take your control back over your life. Not too dramatic?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So there is an evolutionary path. There are actually, any being goes through, right? And there are 5 paths. And also it will be, we will talk about it during the course.
Yeah, it's talk about what it means to be enlightened, and there's a lot of odd ideas, how you're going to go beyond all suffering, what that looks like and how you get there. And then this course has probably the most powerful class of all the 18 courses is in this course. It's really interesting. Because yeah, I'll wait until you get there.
Yeah. So basically, what you need, let's summarize a little bit. What you need to find your power in the midst of chaos is first make a decision. You take your responsibility for what's going on, right? Because if it does not depend on you, if you think that somebody else is responsible for that, I mean, whatever you do, you can lay down on your bed all day long and maybe randomly something happened. Or if not randomly, somebody decided it for you. And anyway, there is no reason to do anything, right? Only if you influence somehow this reality, then you can change it. And then you need to understand what exactly is going on, like this thing, right? Somehow my mind is creating my future for me, right? By what? By what I say, by what I think, and by what I do every single second. In these old books, they say 65 seeds, they say per second. Actually, it's written there per moment, whatever they understand. Like a finger snap, 65 mental seeds are planted. They become a potential. Potential grows, depending on your motivation, depending on if this is a very good action, like or very bad, right? Then grows and opens and changes your reality, like replaces completely what you have right now. And if you're conscious about what you do, then you can get better results. If you don't know about what's going on, you still have the process in place. It's just is a little bit wild, it's Bill does not love the the metaphor that I usually use, but it's like you decided to plant roses and like different nice flowers in the garden, or like you didn't plant anything, you just have weeds because of some, I don't know, maybe wind was blowing, not necessarily birds. And then you have just, maybe couple daisies, nice, but not roses, So this is what this course is about, how to intentionally create your future. Did they say it's easy?
Oh,
sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes
it's easier than the alternative.
Uh,
It's easier than trying to live your life without knowing why things happen.
Yeah, because then what happens? You just blame everybody, humans, gods, because nothing works,
People think it's random because they don't know what they're doing. It looks random because they don't know why things are happening. But it's not random. There's a cause.
Yeah, and all the mechanics of it, we will be teaching you in the course ACI 6, because this is a rare course. It contains a lot of deep ideas on how the reality works, and then you will get an idea how you can change your life.
And I was sitting there thinking, well, okay, is this accurate? If you're not familiar with Geshe Michael, and I don't know what you guys know about that, but he basically got the Tibetan equivalent of a PhD in a monastery. Had to go over and learn Tibetan, and spent like 20 years with them going through it. A very high level of knowledge. And
by the way, we checked if he really did it. We went to India, we went to the monastery.
Yeah, we went, which is pretty extraordinary because you'd see like the big schools that he built, and like the money that he donated, and
The debate the debaters
and,
ground
and how respected he is there. But when I was first interested in this stuff, I'd read different text, based on my classes at the university. I had some interest in this later on. I was like, oh, well, okay, well, they'd said some interesting things, and I thought I was going to go. I'd spent a couple of years looking in Chicago and gone to various different places and found in a city the size of Chicago, which at the time was the second largest city in the United States, I found nobody who knew what they were talking about, frankly. And so I went up to the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where Geshe Sopa, not Lama Sopa, but Geshe Sopa was. He was the original Tibetan scholar, one of their best scholars who had come to the United States, and he trained the first generation of American PhDs, the professors. My professor at University of Virginia had trained with Geshe Sopa at the University of Wisconsin, and I thought, well, I'll go up there and I'll probably go get a PhD. And I went up there and he told me, well, don't study with me, study with Geshe Michael. Yeah. I was like, oh, really? Okay. Well, I didn't,
you're not good enough.
It wasn't really what I was expecting, and so, and then frankly, I'm glad he told me that, because the translations that Geshe Michael are doing are, they're the best, easily the best. The knowledge, the way the courses are designed. If you really want to practice this and not study it just from an academic viewpoint, if you really want to practice it, it's easily, it's far away the best. Frankly, it's historic. It's really a great story about how it came here, which I will do another time, I think. But it's really, frankly, it's the coolest story on the planet, the information that's in here. It's really cool.
So we will be waiting for you tomorrow. Tomorrow, same time, we start the first class, because this is an introduction to get to know, for you could meet us and listen to what are our ideas. So why people who are not interested in any kind of like difficult religions, or like, I'm not interested in religions. I just want to know how the reality works.
How to live a happy life, right?
How to be happy.
Yeah.
And I want to be a good person, like I don't want to be the only one who's happy. I want other people to be happy. It's not fun to be happy when everybody else is suffering. And this is a beautiful path to come to this point.
And it's fun. Every class, when I got them, way back when, every time I got a new course, they used to come in the mail. And every time I'd open the package, it was like getting a present. I was like, oh, so excited, like, because all the new information in it. And it was, frankly, if you've searched around looking for answers for these things, how it can be frustrating and boring. And this wasn't like that. This was exciting. There was something, just huge discoveries and a lot of fun. And then, frankly, when you get around the people who've been studying it, it's also a lot of fun, a lot of joy. And
because they're the smartest people, to be honest.
Well, and by smart means kind, right? I mean, the people, and if you really understand this, you're going to treat people well. It's just a real joy to be around the people in these groups, and it's so I hope you join us. I think you'll find it more than worth your time.
And the last thing I want to say, I always had millions of questions. I mean, since I probably was, when I started talking, probably 2 years old, I was quite an early speaker. Boy, I was a pain. I mean, I was a good girl with lots of questions. And my parents, I was very lucky to have parents. They would, oh my God, my mom would go into nuclear physics to answer some of my questions when I was 5. So when I joined these classes in 2014, I think, I had millions of questions, just millions, about how the reality works, how I can change it, what about this pain I have, what about this wish I have. All my questions that I had as of 2014 are answered. I don't have these questions anymore. I have other questions. And honestly, I would never think I can have this level questions. Like, it's nice to have these questions, you know.
She's unstoppable. I'll get up in the morning and be like, well, just let me get through my coffee first, you know. I mean, like she's as soon as she wakes up, she starts talking, you know? Always about philosophy and dharma.
But guys, if you heard this story, right? Like, to whom? For me, it's different. He's talking.
After I've had my coffee.
Okay, so we are having fun during the classes. We will foresee this time to answer your questions, and at the end. So join us tomorrow, same time.
If you show up,
fun.
cool things happen. It's really it's an extraordinary story. It's an extraordinary, frankly, opportunity. We will teach you for free because we love it. We will teach you free all the way through because we love it.
And if you will be grateful for us, don't send us money. We have ACI, a charity organization, where we are teaching on behalf of them. There are other teachers like us. Donate to them. They need money. We are fine.
Yeah. But
okay. Thank you, translators. Sorry for getting too excited sometimes. I hope you, I'm sure you did a great job with your languages. And thank you, technical team. You are amazing. Thank you, volunteers. By the way, when you will understand these teachings, you probably will want to become a volunteer. I'm a volunteer for 11 years already in this program, and it was probably the best decision I ever made. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.